Pokemon is popular. And you know what else is popular? Minecraft. So what happens when you put the two together? You get Cobblemon. Cobblemon is a Minecraft server, mod, and add-on all put together in one, in which you can play out your own Pokemon adventure in a blocky world, which, thanks to a sponsorship from the owners of the Cobblemon server, I did. Now, I challenged myself to a little bit of a Nuzlocke challenge on the server, with certain rules. The first one is that as soon as I catch a Pokemon, I have to name it, making sure I get attached, and it's a little bit of an extra sentimental value to catching the Pokemon. And the more critical rule is once those Pokemon are fully evolved, if I lose them, I have to get rid of them permanently. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so once I logged onto the server and got my first starting kit, it was time to try this Pokemon Cobblemon challenge. Now when you first log into the server, you meet Professor Oak, which is a classic, and choose what you want your starting Pokemon to be. You get to choose from every single generation that has ever existed in Pokemon, including some of the more recent ones, such as Alola or Galar. I really hope I'm saying those correctly. You get to choose between the grass, water, and fire types, and I pick my personal favorite, of Piplup. I've always loved him, even when I used to play the card games. Once you leave Professor Oak's opening building, you're entered into the lobby, which was Christmas themed at the time I was making this video. In the lobby itself, there are a bunch of Pokemon, like this twirling bull who's just kinda hanging out. And once you leave the lobby itself, you can enter into the wilderness, where you can build and find even more Pokemon, like these two little dudes hanging out. Every 10 seconds in the bottom you do have entities that go away, but they always respawn. And there are little trivias in the corner of the chat that you can also participate in. But instead, I decided to participate in a battle. Now, since it's been almost a decade since I played the Pokemon card game, I make the tragic mistake of fighting an electric-type Pokemon with my Piplup, which was almost completely tragic and ended this Nuzlocke challenge from the very start, until I throw out a ball and capture my first wild Pokemon, little Mareep. I keep going around in the wild and find someone's house that they managed to create, which is something you can build yourself on the Cobblemon server. But while I'm in the swamp, I go ahead and capture another Pokemon, this time a Geodude. Oh, and I forgot to mention, but as part of the Nuzlocke, I'm only allowed to capture one Pokemon per region. So when I don't capture this Geodude, I wonder if it's really worth getting him. And you know what? I decided it really is. I send out my Mareep and he instantly faints, which makes me feel a lot better about making that rule that only fully evolved Pokemon can be permanently deleted. Deciding I don't want the same fate to befall my Piplup, I throw out a Poké Ball and capture a level 24 Geodude, which is pretty impressive, considering all my other ones are like level 10 and 13. Once I head back to the lobby to Nurse Joy to heal up my two Pokemon, I actually find some other players who are showing off their Pokemon. I show up my own, which aren't really that impressive, or that leveled. But hey, that's a pretty cool Oshawott, you know, until this guy has to show off a little bit more. Quickly, the Pokemon Center becomes the Pokemon Convention, as more and more people throw out their Pokemon, including this cool as shit Onyx, who instantly goes back into his ball. In the lobby, I see a wild Zubat, and decide I would try to maybe capture him until I defeat him with one ability. I go match for match with a little which I don't know if I'm saying right, and he goes Spwekwabai, as my Piplup instantly gets rid of him. But that lets me finally evolve, and I get a little Prinplup, which is cool. I always loved him, even though he's just kind of like a bigger penguin, and not that impressive. While I'm still hanging out in the lobby, I find a little Drillbur dude who's trying to drill into this wall. But I send out my Mareep, which I know, I forgot to name, don't worry, I name him later on in the video. And Mareep, who will remain nameless for now, is slowly getting his ass kicked. So I swap him out for Prinplup, and it, you know, doesn't get that much better with a sandstorm raging around, but we'll pretend like that's not happening. Well, my little sheep dude evolved into a Fluffy, which is pretty cool, and I have some loot from all those Pokemon I've been defeating, so I drop it in an ender chest and hang out some more. But this time there's no one around, so I randomly teleport into the wild, where I find a village. It is a Minecraft server, so I guess even villages still exist, but it seems someone else got to me first, as there's nothing left, except for this level 19 Caterpie. I mean, this can't be that much of a threat. So I send out my Prinplup, which I've now named Number 1 Penguin, because that's what he is, considering he got a critical hit on this new Pokemon, getting him a little bit more XP. In the wild, I find a little Tallow and absolutely intimidate him with my Rock Bro, which honestly I can't imagine in real life this would ever actually be a fight that a Tallow could win. In the wild, I even find a Growlithe, and this time decide he might be worth capturing. I haven't yet gotten a Pokemon in the plains, and I don't have a Flame type either. So I throw out a Pokeball once he's low enough health, and cross my fingers. Which thankfully works very well. Thanks a lot, Rock Bro. My Growlithe has the sassy nature about it, which all Pokemon in Cobblemon can have their own personalities. And I name him Flamey Boy. Perhaps not the, most creative name, but it works. I send out Rock Bro in his native environment of random gravel, and watch as he loses his health and completely demolishes another bird. It's kind of weird that he's developing a reputation of just defeating birds and doing nothing else. With my downtime, I go ahead and start to maximize my different Pokemon, which in Cobblemon you can do by swapping out their abilities for new ones, especially once they've evolved and they can gain access to more of them. I decide that some of these more neutral abilities aren't really worth my time, so I swap them out for more powerful ones, and head back into the lobby, where it seems that a minor Pokemon convention is happening with one dude. Once I heal up my Pokemon, I go back into the wild with the random teleport command that you can use on the Cobblemon server, and wind up in someone's house, right in their backyard. Really don't think they'd be too happy about this, but turns out they're an Ender Dragon defeater, considering they just casually have one of those skulls lying around, and the Ender Dragon sure ain't a Pokemon, and in fact they even have their own little Pokemon station and healing computer. Once I go up to the second floor, I realize that the entire base is claimed, and there's not much I can do, except go back to the lobby and access a new feature from the Cobblemon server. Now the Cobblemon server has a bunch of different things called crates, which you can either buy or find keys for, and access those crates. I use one against a trainer crate, which very ironically gives me a key for a master crate, which is an upgraded version of it. When I go to the master crate and go ahead and use my key on it, I get a bunch of protein from the master crate, which apparently increases the attack EVs of all Pokemon that I use it by 10 for each one, which hopefully should help out in a Nuzlocke, maybe. I go back outside into the beach environment this time, and since I don't actually have a Pokemon from the beach or the sea, it seems like a great time to do it. And I capture what must be everyone's favorite and strongest Pokemon, Magikarp. I send out Rock Bro since I figure a giant rock can really beat down a fish, and he does it a little too well, to the point where I don't even have time to capture it. So since my Pokemon are a little bit too powerful, I decide I just kind of have to throw out some Pokeballs and hope for the best. I first throw out a Great Ball, but against a level 15 Magikarp that's full health, it doesn't do much, and the Great Ball just kind of floating around in the ocean is a great symbol of how I'm really feeling about this plan right now. But somehow, eventually it works. And I capture my first Pokemon from the sea environment, which is a very nice contrast to going into this, abandoned snowy Death Hills environment, where Machop is, the only living thing around. For some stupid reason, I decide that my Magikarp, who I've now named Flopper, would for some reason be a good fit for this battle, but I gain some brains and swap him out for Flamey Boy, who is a bit too aggressive with his flames. He brings a Machop down so low that I decide I might as well use my snowy environment Nuzlocke, a bonus, to capture this Machop, which I do, meaning, while I can't have that, I can't have a full house, and no more snow Pokemon can be captured. Head back into the wilds and I start to construct a base, where Swiper from Dora the Explorer is hanging out alongside some gravel ant. And oh my god, how is this ant single-handedly beating down all of my Pokemon? It is great that I put that rule that only fully evolved Pokemon can be lost, because oh my god, he keeps knocking everyone down. It gets so bad I decide I guess I'm just gonna live with this guy and run away, since I'm not losing any more Pokemon to him. During the night, I actually caught a Ghastly, which was pretty cool, who is so high level that he instantly evolved into a Haunter with no other things needed from me. And so I completely fill him up.
What did he say?
With new abilities. And speaking of new things, in particular, I'd like to thank the Cobblemon server owners for sponsoring this video. Like I said previously, the Cobblemon server allows you to play Pokemon multiplayer in Minecraft with your friends. If you log on, you can go ahead and have your own little Pokemon adventure like I had here, challenge yourself to a kinda Nuzlocke challenge, or just build a base and have fun. And if you like this video, consider subscribing to the channel, or liking this video itself. I have a lot of different videos like this on the channel, such as Minecraft videos or variety gaming, and who knows, Cobblemon might be coming up again soon. This is a really fun challenge, even if it wasn't completely successful or a complete Nuzlocke challenge, but regardless, this was a very fun server and a really fun video to actually film. Really hoping I can make more videos on it soon, and if you guys would like it, consider telling me that. Once I'm back in my base, I decide it's time to go ahead and start farming up some experience. Considering I couldn't get rid of a single ant, it's needed.
Many unbearable hours later.
After many hours of farming around and getting ready to have my Pokemon leveled up, I kinda do it. And in fact, while I'm on one of the servers, I actually find one of the mods for the server that I've been talking to on Discord. So I say hello. Once I'm on the beach, I find this absolutely ugly dude and decide I want to use my beach Pokemon Nuzlocke on him. I haven't captured any Pokemon on the beach yet, so I go ahead and throw out a little bit of Confuse Rays from that Haunter, who I've affectionately named Spooks. I bring the Muck down to around 50% health, which I figure is enough since I'd rather not continue wasting my Pokemon, and with a single Great Ball, I actually managed to capture it, which is insane because he's like level 40. I use a random teleport command again and land on top of a roof. Because it's claimed I can't use any of the gates to come down, so I graciously just fall down and find someone's absolute, berry weed farm, which I, really hope is illegal in the Pokemon world. I don't know. I haven't actually seen any of these episodes in a long time. This farm is surprisingly very well put together. In fact, whoever made this has 2 of them, and a giant arena they've created with glowing green particles just hanging around, and this Spinorack, which really triggers my arachnophobia. So I have Flamey Boy treat that for me. Thanks, buddy. In fact, this person made their own little Pokemon gym to the point where it even has its own rules. Not only of what you can bring, but also how many times and how often you can challenge it. Which honestly really shows how great the Cobblemon server is. While there are official gyms and all that, you can just create your own if you feel like it. Or you can also just find a bird and send it in if you feel like it. I love this dude so much. I forgot to name him, but I love it. Big Bird and Sunny Slime are some great late-time additions to this team. I continue going around this dude's random farm and arena and find a giant underground cavern full of something. The banner makes it seem like this was for some kind of Halloween event on the server, which was long before my time when I started making videos. I go around and find that this guy, whoever made this, has a lot of different attractions and carnival games, it looks like. Some Pokemon themed and some chicken themed, but none of them really seem to work, or I can't really use the buttons. And he also just kind of has a villager trapped here, where even when I free him, he's not all that keen on leaving. So, guess it's best to just leave him be. There's a bunch of redstone circuitry and actual weird elevator vents, which I never even considered doing before in Minecraft in general, much less on a cool Cobblemon server like this. I don't even know what these things are. They seem to be happy. I just don't know what they are. So, with my little adventure done with that random Halloween, I decided that I really want to look at the multiplayer aspect of Cobblemon. And, after talking with the moderators, I do just that. I decided to key everyone in on the Nuzlocke challenge I've been doing for the past few hours, and ask if I can see everyone else's Pokemon on the server. And so I do that. First, I end up on the wrong server, by accident. But eventually I find my way to the right Cobblemon server, in which I see everyone's Pokemon that they've been able to capture for the event that I wanted to run. And my god, is this incredible. I mean, Golden Freddy's just hanging out over there. This is like Golden Freddy if he wasn't employed by Freddy Fazbear's. Thanks to the moderators of the Cobblemon server, I get to see this giant dude who I don't even know who this is. If someone could tell me in the comments who this dude is, I have no idea. The lobby is filled with every single Pokemon that anyone could have ever captured, wanted to capture, or even show off. And even I have to admit in the chat, this is actually incredible. I could have spent hours and hours going on with this Nuzlocke server challenge and not capture any of these dudes. Look at this little Kyogre? I don't actually know how to pronounce it. But he's so cool. And honestly, I love this lobby so much because it really shows how great and the emphasis is on the Cobblemon server being a multiplayer experience. You and your friends can do what I did and spawn giant palm trees out of the sky. He's just hanging out, but he's having a good time, just like I am. I think that's a Gyarados up there. Is that what it's called? A Gyarados? Just hanging out in the palm trees. And this is, wow, that person almost missed their ultrasound appointment to show off their Pokemon. If that is not dedication, I don't know what is. And hey, this guy's giving me a little Pokeballs, which I definitely could use if I want to continue this Nuzlocke challenge at some point in the future. As one final little farewell before I say goodbye to everyone, and goodbye to this Nuzlocke challenge, at least for now, I tell everyone to head towards the enchantment room in the main lobby so I can see their Pokemon, if they wanted to show them off one last time. And everyone definitely does. I see the same Gyarados I saw last time, a bunch of Pokemon I don't recognize, including this dude who's T-posing and asserting his dominance over me. I also see another little Pokeball that someone throws out, which was very nice of them. And I also see a bunch more Pokemon. In particular, one of the helpers and a gym leader on the server, Ace Defect, sent me over and showed out the Pokemon that he uses to protect his gym that he rightfully won. These are actually really cool. I don't know how to describe them. They're kind of like futuristic Pokemon that I definitely don't remember from my days. But oh my god, this dude like almost looks like that dude from the Dark Souls bosses. I forget, it's like that wolf with the sword. This is such a cool Pokemon, and honestly, I see why he has it. And so, even though my Nuzlocke challenge may not have been totally finished and complete, it was partially. And more importantly, I got to spend it with a bunch of different people, which couldn't be any greater than that. So, once again, thank you to the Cobblemon server owners for sending me this sponsorship, and if you want to see more, just let me know.